Hello everyone, my name is Drew and today I'm going to be walking you through a bit of Stronghold Kingdoms. I got a request to talk a little bit more about combat. When should I attack a player, how should I attack a player, and what different combat styles should I use? These are all great questions because as a lower ranked player, even as a higher ranked player, no matter how you got there, you don't know when or how to attack a person depending on if they're offline, if they're online, and what you're going to do with it. So first off, we can start by going to the wiki, of course, and looking at the 5 different ways to attack a player. Here you have Capture, Raise, Pillage, Ransack, and Vandalize. These options come up when you're in the attack screen. Now I'm just going to pick a person at random. Let's go to this person. I'll place troops down and then you can see the 5 options. Now, I'm doing this on World 1 because I have it all researched, and if I would do it on another world, I don't have it researched, so I won't be able to show it to you. So here, Vandalize. Vandalize costs, I want to say, yeah, it costs roughly the same between the regular attacks. The Raise and the Capture require a captain, so I don't consider those regular attacks. But the between Ransack, Pillage, and Vandalize, these are ones you can send without a captain. With Vandalize, what happens is your troops are trying to get to the keep. When I say keep, I mean this thing right here. Now it looks like that because I haven't scouted this village, but what happens is they keep attacking the village or the parish, because you can send Vandalizes on parishes from your own villages, just not from vassals. But here they keep on attacking until they die, or until they reach that keep, whichever happens first. Next is Pillage. With Pillage, you can steal another player's resources, whether it's stockpile, granary, inn, village hall, or armory. Now you can change this option by clicking the little icon here. And once you realize what you want to steal, what you're going to do is you're gonna hold down on this slider. You're going to click and hold down on this slider, then drag it. Now the max research for it is 90%, and when you attack a player, if you're attacking them early and you don't want them to rebuild the castle with cards, you can pillage their stockpile. I don't really see a reason to pillage granary unless you're pillaging an inactive and you just want extra resources for yourself. Same thing with the inn and the village hall. Unless you're a banqueter, there's really no reason to pillage that type of stuff. And like I said, a lot of times people won't banquet, especially the inactives, and if they do, it's not going to be for a full amount. Lastly is the Armory. This is, I want to say, between the people that I've talked to, this is the most widely used version of pillaging. When you pillage for Armory, you can take a maximum of 510 of each weapon. That's 510 catapults, armor, pikes, swords, bows. So you take a maximum of 510, that's 90%, and that's at full stockpile capacity at 600 for the player. Now when you do this, your pillaging goes up quite rapidly because catapults, each catapult is 1 packet. So that 510 you just stole is 510 packets that you just stole. And then you have 102 packets, I believe, from each of the other different types, because each armor is 5 per packet, each bow is the same, and so on and so forth. And the thing about it is, if you can send these types of attacks, the Pillage, the Ransack, and the Vandalize, from your vassals. And when you send them from your vassals, say for instance the Pillage, you're going to send it at a player to steal his Armory, which is, like I said, the most widely used type for pillaging. So you send it from a vassal. Now it doesn't add to your armory right away. What it does is when the attack returns to the vassal, it adds it to your armory. So say for instance this attack is going to take about 1 hour 16. Let's pretend this is from my vassal. Okay, it takes 1 hour 16 to get there and 1 hour 16 to get back. So that's roughly 2 hours and 32 minutes. From there, what happens is, once it hits, say I get 510 of everything, and I notice that I already have 400 of everything. Now I have 1 hour and 16 minutes to sell off or transfer to another village before they get added or wasted to my armory. Ransacking. Ransacking will destroy the buildings within a village. Now, it's not within the castle, it's within the village. When I say this, what happens is your troops go inside of this white line here, okay? And when they go within the white line, and this is the same for pillaging, when they go within the white line here, there's a timer on the right hand side, which I'll show you reports a bit later. But there's a timer on the right hand side which counts down, depending on the research of the player, whether they have vaults or not, and depending on the severity of how much you're sending. Whether it's 90% or a maximum of 8 villages for ransacking, that timer is going to be a bit higher. So once you go within that white line, the timer starts going down. Now the timer to get full 90% of the stockpile goods at full vaults for the other player as well, it's about 27,000. Now that timer goes down a lot faster when there's more troops within the white line. So say for instance, if I just sent, you know, this 9 pikemen and then 25 archers like that, it go down a lot less than if I would send a lot of pikemen and a lot of archers, as long as they're within that little white line that goes around the whole entire keep. Now with ransacking and pillaging, it's the same sort of as Vandalize, as soon as they reach the middle, the attack stops and is successful. So even if you sent 3 pikemen and 3 archers, if they reach that keep, the timer doesn't have to go all the way down. And with ransacking, the one thing that you use it for is to intimidate a player who drops interdiction in your own territory, and you don't want him to jump around. So what you do is you send ransacks at him, because he wants to be raised out of that area so he can get another village and terrorize you some more. So instead, you cause him a bit of hell and you make him suffer. So you ransack his building so he can't get faith points by having those buildings in place. And next is raise. With raise, what happens is you must have a captain survive the attack, and then I'll buy a captain. Okay, we'll go back to this village. Okay, now the captain has to survive. So usually when you send a raise, you put him in the back, but not all the way in the back, because when you send in the front, a lot of people put their peasant holes back here. So try to put him off to the side, and you always surround him by troops, usually archers, so they can shoot troops coming towards them. And you always want to have him on wait. When I say wait, or delay for that matter, it's about 200 seconds. You can send more than one captain in the attack. As long as one survives, it'll be successful. And what raise does is it totally deletes the village out of existence. All the vassals that were attached to that village are lost. The liege lord's lost. All resources within that village are lost. So it really sucks to get raised, and it's really gratifying to raise though. It's quite fun. I suggest it for anyone that needs a little bit of a stress reliever. Okay, and next we have capture. What capture does is it allows you to take control of that village. So say for instance this village here, it's a lowland. It's not that good of a castle because there's no vassals attached. So if I would capture it, it'd probably just be for strategy, for the point of strategy. But other than that, I wouldn't really want to. But for the sake of argument, it's the same as raise, to where a captain has to survive. You can send more than one, it doesn't matter. And really, as you can see here, it will be my 13th village, or my 14th, sorry, and it would cost 9 million. Now I have to have that 9 million before I send it out. I could send out another captain afterwards, and this honor cost right here isn't taken until my captain lands and is successful. So if the village is raised before I get there, it doesn't cost me 9 million. The only thing taken is this right here, the honor penalty. Alright, so I'm going to show you a few reports, and let me just go pull those up. Alright, now first I have to show you is a Vandalize. Now this attack was sent from a parish, but it has the same use as, say, if you would send a Vandalize from your village or from your vassal. So let's go ahead and take a look. Now this player did not have any troops on the walls, and this one was sent early in front of a raise that has, I think, 8 or 9 attached to it. But as you can see here, there's no timer on the right hand side except for the attack being available for the attacker to see. And when you see here, this attack is going to go quite fast because there's no troops on the walls and they're just beating up the walls for this player. So I'm just going to go ahead and speed it up until it wins. Alright, now as you can see there, like I said before, there was no timer on the right hand side, so they could have sat there and beat up the walls all day, but because of the opening that was opened before, right here, their troops pretty much just walked in. That's what a Vandalize will look like. It'll look pretty much the same on any castle, and the faster your troops die is the quicker the report will be. So let's go ahead and find a Pillage now. Alright, now the same castle that was attacked earlier with the Vandalize from the parish, we're going to see a Pillage on. Now, as you can see, the Pillage was successful. They stole 729,000 resources, which it looks to be about full stockpile of all the granary. I don't know why you pillage granary, but to each their own. As you can see here, this is after a couple reports have already been destroying the castle, and on the right hand side you can see the Pillage. Like I said before, this guy is full vaults and he's stealing 90%. So it's about 26,000 started at 27,000. And as you can see, as they enter in the white line, it goes down, and as more go in, it goes down a lot faster. So I'm just going to go ahead and speed this up until it ends. Alright, now as you can see here, the attack has just been won and they're walking away, because even if you reach the middle, the attack doesn't end. They have to still walk away. But as you can see, nobody's really attacking them. You can't attack once a Pillage is done. It's not the same for Ransack. So if you send a Pillage, don't expect to lose that many if it's already open. And like I said, as you can see, he stole max stockpile. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and show you a Ransack now. Now, the Ransack in question is not one where the player has max Ransack, but for the sake of argument, I'm just going to show it to you. As you can see here, there's a countdown timer just like Pillage, and it's going down quite rapidly now that there's more players within the white line. As you can see, there's quite a big hole already, so he had this planned. Now, as you can see, just like the Pillage, as soon as the countdown is done, they start walking away. But unlike the Pillage, you can see that they're still shooting at these pikemen. So I'm just going to go ahead and speed this up until they die. Alright, now as you can see, with that attack, because he only had the level 1 Ransack, all he destroyed was the metal workshop. Now the thing about ransacking is, it doesn't matter how far you get into the keep, it doesn't matter how many troops you send, it's random. Now when I say random, the max number of villages that you can ransack is 8, and that's with full research. Now you could send, like I said, 3 pikemen or 300 pikemen. It doesn't matter, because it's a random number between 1 and the maximum amount that you set up for in the attack screen. So you could essentially have max ransacks and send for max ransacks and only destroy 1 building, which kind of sucks, but that's really just the way it is. Alright, next I'm going to show you a capture. Now the capture was done, and it looks like it was his 12th village. So we're just going to go ahead and take a look at it. As you can see, the village is already open. Also, as you can see, the captain is almost dying here, because the peasant was almost right next to the captain, which if that captain would have died, this capture would not have went through. Now on the right hand side, there's no timer like the Pillage or the Ransack, and as you can see, the troops essentially act just like a Vandalize, and they're going right to the keep. Alright, now as you can see, one of the follies about attacking from the bottom right is you must destroy these towers right here, because otherwise that'll happen to you, to where your troops will go single file, and the sally forth can kill a lot of your troops. The only reason that he survived that sally forth going through single file like that was because he sent a lot of troops and he sent archers. Now, the priority for sally forth, and when I say priority I mean what they'll attack. First they'll attack catapults, next they'll attack archers. After all of those are off of the field altogether, what they'll try to go for is just anyone nearest to them. Alright, so that has been the capture. I'm going to go ahead and show you a raise now. Alright, now this was a raise done on a crown prince. Now, myself being a prince, to raise a crown prince, it does not cost that much honor. It costs about half of what it would cost to essentially raise a normal prince, which was, a normal prince is about 124,800 I believe, and this one is about 62,400, so as you can see it's almost exactly half. Now, on the right hand side again, there's no countdown except for viewing the report. Now in this one you always send a little bit of catapults in the raise. I suggest the same for capture, just in case there's something a little bit left in the keep, and you always want to send more melee troops, which here would be swordsmen, than you would archers. Now the reason for that is melee troops, as you can see here, the archers are stopping and melee troops are running right towards the keep. You don't want them to stop and shoot at people, you want them to just get in there and have the report be done. And just like the capture again, you can see, surrounded by troops, the captain is. Alright, so as soon as they get to the center, the raise is successful, and as you can see, because of the timed attacks we had with it, the castle is wide open. Actually on two sides it looked like, just because on the bottom right it didn't look like it was that good structurally to begin with. Alright, so those have been the 4 types of attacking. I'm going to go into a bit more about how to pick your targets. Alright, now that we have the 5 different types of attacking down, let's go into about how to pick your targets. Now, in a war zone, say for instance, right here, I'm in a war with all of House 4, which would be the really fluorescent green. Now, I don't attack anybody lower than princes. I don't care if they're vassals, just because it's too bully to do that. What I do is I'll click randomly in a farm zone. Now this player would be a great attack because he has over 10 villages, and that's really what I do when I target players. I'll go to a faction and I'll see who has over 10 villages, and the reason I do that is because any village over 10 village costs them honor. It costs millions of honor. So if you take out someone's 15th village, it costs them 10 million honor to get it back. Now I can go through and I can see this player has 18 villages. Yeah, 16th is 15, 17th is 20th, and 18th is 25 million. So if I would just raise one of this player's villages, it would be 25 million honor. So then what I do is I go here, and then I just, looks like he's all in Wiltshire, so I'll randomly pick one. It'll take me to his village. Now as you can see, he's ID'd for over 2 days. He's probably like that in a lot of his villages, just because he looks to be a pretty good farmer. Or she's a princess. So that's really how essentially you would pick targets in a war zone. Another thing you can do is, say for instance you want to know about an active target to take over a village, or you want to look at someone just to pillage them, or to, whatever you want. Another way you can do is you can just scroll the map and you can look for siege camps like this. This one's going to hit about 54 minutes. So I'll keep that one in mind, and then I'll go through other ones. And I'll see any siege camp that's returning. Like say for instance this one. The Big's castle is returning, which means his castle is a bit weak. Now, he's only a commoner, which I wouldn't attack him unless you're really close to his rank. But that's how you would see inactives. Another way you can do it is by finding a prince, for example, and if the prince only has 3 villages or 2 villages, they're inactive. But before you attack someone that you think is inactive, always send them a message. They could just be farming, or they could have just been raised a lot. Now, I said before, when you're raising someone, what you want to do is you want to send vandalizes. If you have enough attacks to destroy the village in a vandalize, you can always send a pillage right before the captain. When you do this, the pillage steals the resources before the captain raises or captures it, and you never want to send a pillage before a capture because that kind of screws the person over that takes over the village. Alright, so that has been attacking basics, kind of basics, more of an advanced. If you have any questions, let me know. You can message me in game or on YouTube or on the forums. And once again, please go to the wiki. It's a great source of information. And have a great day.